Hi, friends. It's Marcelin Bailey of Stress Talk and ML Bailey Consultants, and you are inside of Stress Talk Live. This is the live stream that helps working women to lower their stress levels because we're all tired of being close to burnout. We have so much that's going on, and we really need some concrete strategies to lower the stress levels. Well, today we are in for a treat. I think it's a treat. One of my dearest friends is with us, Franette, who is a licensed professional clinical counselor, has joined us. And we're going to continue our discussion about negative thoughts and how negative thoughts affect our stress levels. So we'll be back in just a few moments. Hi there. I'm glad you're with us today. Today we have a special guest. But before we get to our special guest, I want to share some reminders. I am going to be posting information about From Burnout to Balance. This is a course that is going to be offered in a couple of different formats. One of the formats is a self-directed online course. The other format is a mastermind where you will actually meet in a group with me. How about that? We'll meet in a group on a weekly basis, and this will allow you to get from burnout to balance. So make sure you look for the announcements and how you can access those two formats of From Burnout to Balance. Second, I want to also encourage you to sign up for the weekly newsletter. It's called Stress Talk Weekly. In Stress Talk Weekly, I share some small tips on how to get through the day without losing it and to keep your stress levels down. I'll be posting information about both the course Burnout to Balance and Stress Talk Weekly, the newsletter, on the Facebook page. So make sure you take advantage of both of those supports. Now, we're going to bring in our special guest today. And I'm going to do a brief introduction, but I'm going to let her tell you a lot more about herself. And here we go. Hey, I'm going to unmute you, Fran. You're still muted. How about that?
Okay.
This is Franette Mock. And so for those of you who know me, I want you all to know that Fran is one of my oldest and dearest friends. We go back to kindergarten.
Yeah.
Way back, way back, way back. We go back to kindergarten.
No, not that much way back.
Okay. We won't go back to prehistoric days. But Fran, I've got to tell you that the very first birthday party I ever attended was a birthday party that Franette invited me to. And it was for her brother. I don't know if you remember, but I do. And I'm still looking for that picture. I'm looking for that picture of us at the birthday party. But it was a birthday party that Fran invited me to. And we have been close friends for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. She is very dear to me. And it's amazing to me that we both have ended up in the same profession.
Yeah.
Franette is a licensed professional clinical counselor supervisor. She is also a registered art therapist. And if you know anything about art therapy, becoming a registered art therapist is a major achievement because there are very few here in the country. There
Oh,
are
thank
very
you.
few, and that there's a lot of skill level that is contained in someone who has that designation. But I want to let Franette tell you a little bit more about herself and about her private practice. Her private practice is Checkpoint Counseling, and it's located in Canton, Ohio. So, Fran, I'm going to give you the floor to tell our audience a little bit about you.
Oh boy. Well, I founded Checkpoint Counseling to really, I guess, be able to incorporate the art with cognitive behavioral therapy, which that's kind of my uh, cubby hole. If you had to stick me in one, I don't like to be in one, but if you had to, and I came up with the name Checkpoint because one of the ways that I decompress and handle stress is I play video games. So uh, usually after you get through a tough part in the video game, you come to a little checkpoint where you can get health and powered up. And so I feel like with my counseling style is that I do want to become obsolete to my clients, meaning you get powered up and you tell me, I got this, friend. And I'll be like, all right, okay. And then sometimes we just do need a space to get powered back up, like to
Mhm.
get fuel back up, because we do all have coping strategies that work. We wouldn't have made it this far.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
that's right.
sometimes we pick up some along the way that don't work so well. And those are the ones that I take a look at with my clients.
Mhm. So, Fran, we've spent the month of March and we've gone into April, and we've been talking about negative thoughts and how negative thoughts affect our stress levels. Can you tell us a little bit more? What are negative thoughts exactly? What is that?
Well, those are the ones that are usually causing us some difficulty. I would say any thought that's causing you difficulty, that might be a negative thought. One of the thought patterns that we do, the worry, okay, and that drives anxiety and drives our stress levels up, okay. Um, we just do it.
Hmm.
As humans, we just do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's when we make a what I call a marathon out of it that can cause you some difficulty.
Okay.
And I've read some studies that kind of explain, and I can't get into detail with this shorter format. Why is it that as humans we look for the negatives? Okay,
Hmm.
however, we do,
Hmm.
and we can't stop that. Okay,
Hmm.
um, what we are able to do is to be when we become aware. Am I having a helpful thought right now? Hmm.
Hmm.
Is this thought helping me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or is it causing me difficulty?
Hmm. So we when we're thinking, we automatically go to the negative, right?
Well, if that's the way you've been going for a while, yeah, you can automatically go to the negative. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
however, no, you don't automatically have to go to the negative. And
Okay.
that takes practice and
Mhm.
purposeful awareness of thoughts. We're not just not thinking when we're not aware of thought. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Thoughts are just like breathing, heartbeat, eyes blinking. All
Mhm.
these things are going on all the time. However, we can't be aware of all these things. We wouldn't have any, would be able to put our attention to anything else. So typically, we're not aware of thoughts until they start to become what I say, they start to poke their heads up out of the water and say, hey, well, look at me, look at me.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. So, one of the things that I've been talking about is how we have thoughts, as you said, that we're not aware of, right?
Hmm.
So, we have thoughts that we're not aware of. How do those thoughts affect us in terms of what we do?
Well, it's we're made up of thoughts, emotions, behaviors. So
Mhm,
typically, our thought can trigger an emotion that will, when we when that emotion pokes up out and it's an intense emotion or uncomfortable emotion, of course we're going to put a behavior to it, which is a coping skill, to try to make ourselves feel better.
mhm.
However, coping skills come in two flavors: those that work and those that don't work so well. Okay.
Ah,
So around this time of year, typically, when we're not in a pandemic, I hear a lot of anxiety and about getting taxes done. And yeah, and one of the coping skills we use for managing worry and what worry triggers, the what if thoughts, what if,
mhm.
what if. So if your thoughts, I always say, are starting out with two words, what if, that's kind of a red flag that you might be going down a worry road.
Mhm,
Yeah. Um, and what if I don't get the taxes done? What if I owe taxes? What if, what if, what if?
mhm.
Well, that drives anxiety. So one of the coping skills that we can use to manage anxiety is procrastination.
Ah,
Yeah,
we put it off.
yeah. And when we use procrastination to manage that anxiety caused by the worry, we
Mhm.
do get that little bit of whew, don't have to deal with that right now. Yeah. However, it usually isn't a long-term strategy for managing tax worry, anxiety that comes with taxes, because there again, speaking of negative thoughts, then we give ourselves more ammunition to beat up on self
Mhm,
with the should statements. Hmm.
mhm,
Uh-huh.
mhm.
Oh,
Should've.
I should have been working on those taxes instead of binge watching Game of Thrones. Oh, I should have started sooner. Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm,
typically, um, yeah, procrastination is a coping skill that we try to use as humans, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work so well.
mhm.
All the time I was in school, my apartment was never as clean as exam week, you know?
I can relate.
Oh, I think I better pull out the refrigerator and clean behind there.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So, so you talked about worry, and that's when we start that what if. We get on that what if train.
Yes.
Um, and that's dealing with the future. We don't know what's going to happen, but we start imagining things that could happen.
Oh, and it's always worst case scenario. I've
Uh-huh.
never worked with anyone that said, Fran, I'm having trouble with my what if thinking, because I'm thinking, well, what if I win mega millions and then I'm going to have to go buy a mansion and then I'm going to have to. It's always like worst case scenario.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
one of the strategies I put out there, because I like to try to keep my strategies simple and that doesn't equate easy, it's just
Yeah.
simple, is checking the facts. Back in the day when Dragnet was on TV, and some of your viewers may not even know what I'm talking about, but it was a cop show
I do.
on, and it was two cops, Sergeant Joe Friday, and he always said, "Check the facts, man. Just the
Hmm.
facts, just the
That's
facts."
right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we want to check the facts with this what if thinking. Well, what if this happens, and what if that happens? How likely is it? Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
How likely is it to happen? And the other thing we worry is it could actually become a self fulfilling prophecy in a way. If you're worried about, I can't get to sleep. I wish I could get to sleep. I don't know why I can't get fall
Yeah.
asleep. Well, you're worried about not getting enough sleep. And the more you worry about it, guess what's going to happen?
You're gonna stay awake because you can't get enough sleep. You're
Right.
gonna worry yourself awake.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So we cannot not think. We can better check in with ourselves, check the facts. Is this an actual worry, or is it a hypothetical worry?
Hmm.
Yes or
Hmm.
no? Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if it's a hypothetical worry, then um, think about some thoughts that are going to be more calming and relaxing for you. And you have those up here also. Mhm.
Okay.
You may have to dig them out a little bit. They may have some dust on them, but
Hmm.
they're up here also. Times when you were maybe on vacation with your family, or um, when you felt totally relaxed out in the backyard in a hammock. Yeah,
Hmm.
and start to bring those things into play.
Hmm.
Also, controlled breathing. I usually don't recommend Googling too many things on the
Hmm.
internet. However, controlled breathing, there are a lot of methods out there. Um, find one that works for you,
Hmm.
practice it when you don't need it during the day, and so that you have it on board. Controlled breathing is a strategy that we have with us at all times. We don't have to look for it in the purse, go out to the car to get it, look for it in the junk drawer. It's always with us. And typically when we're stressed, anxious, worried, when if you notice breath is dysregulated,
Yep. Hmm.
whether you're or holding breath, either way, it's
Yeah.
dysregulated. So you want to get it back, because when we're relaxed and ready to fall asleep, we're taking in very long, deep breaths, and we're exhaling very long.
Hmm.
Mhm. No
Hmm.
human can fall asleep breathing. It just ain't happening.
That's right.
Yeah. So, controlled breathing is also something to implement during the day. Just take a moment from the computer
Hmm.
to just sit back and do 30, 60 seconds of relaxed breathing and start
Hmm.
to decompress a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I always recommend breathing because it's like the absolute best way to relax. It
Mhm.
by far.
Mhm.
And you're right. You don't have to find it. You don't have to look. It's always with you.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think that if people can remember that, um, it might be a little easier. Now, one of the things that I've talked about is sometimes we can hamper breathing because of our posture. If we're sitting kind of, drawn in, it hampers our breathing. Or,
Mhm.
you know, if we're wearing Spanx or, controlled pantyhose or, clothes that are too tight. We can't get that breath in. So we, which also think from a physical standpoint, when we are having trouble breathing, the brain interprets that as if we're in distress.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and
Mhm.
so it kicks up those
Mhm.
stress levels because it's trying to figure out what how to fix it.
Absolutely.
So, but
Absolutely. And the
mhm,
other thing is that usually, if when breath is dysregulated, heartbeat is also.
mhm,
And since we can't say to heart, hey heart, let's can you slow it down a little bit? However, fortunate for us as humans, breath and heartbeat is kind of connected. So
yeah,
you can get that controlled breathing, the heartbeat will slow down. The
mhm,
heartbeat is going to slow down. Now, is it going to be Shazam? No. Mhm. It's
mhm,
it's what I call how to get your foot off of the worry gas pedal, your foot off of the uh, anxiety gas pedal, um, because that what if thinking is going to, yeah, start to dysregulate breath, which then heartbeat's going to start to dysregulate, and then yeah, the whole
mhm,
yeah, the whole body, physical body of us is going to go into oh, we got to do something mode.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
mhm, mhm. So, Fran, you talked about negative thinking, automatic thoughts, negative thoughts being a habit, and how you have to practice thinking a different way. What
Hmm.
are some of the suggestions that you have to help, or some of the suggestions you share with your clients to help them to change or adjust how they think?
First, you have to become aware of what am I saying to myself,
Mhm.
because we are listening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what am I saying? So, like I said, become aware of two words: what if.
Mhm.
Mhm. What if this happens? Um, it's kind of cloudy here in Ohio. What else is new? Uh, and you can listen to the weather, and the weather person will say, well, we're expecting 80% chance of rain today. Okay. So that tells me, oh, let me get an umbrella. Hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
I don't want to get wet.
Mhm.
However, there are sunny days here in Ohio
Yeah.
also.
Mhm.
And a person could carry an umbrella around all the time,
Right.
because what if it's going to rain? Yeah.
Uh-huh. There you go. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What if it rains?
Yeah.
Well, the
Mhm.
likelihood on a sunny day, when you check the facts, not to say that a storm can't blow up and then every once in a while there isn't rain on a sunny day. However, when we check the facts, and that's how you would check the facts, how likely is it that I need to carry an umbrella on a sunny day? Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are this and doing this is something that's very we should do this with small things as a
Right.
way to build up our habit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we can build up worry.
Mhm.
Okay. You know, if we worried as hard as we could worry, okay, like anything else, we would get tired and want to stop.
Mhm.
So if you find yourself worrying all day long, well, guess what? You're pacing yourself to do it.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like running a marathon. Yeah.
Mhm.
A
Mhm.
human can't run 26 miles as fast as they can run 1 mile, or 1 mile as fast as they can run a 100-yard dash.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you just don't have it, if your day just can't get started without a good worry for 5 minutes, get it out of your system and move on. You don't have to make it into a all day thing.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
So
love that suggestion. Yes. Yes.
worry, sit on the edge of your bed, worry about whatever. I'm going to worry about whatever I want to worry about for about 5 minutes, get it out of my system, and then let's move on. We don't have to make a marathon out of it. And
Mhm.
yeah, the what if thinking is typically sends us into the future. And then be aware of the should statements, because they typically send us back to the past.
The past.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I should have known, I should have done. They should have known, they should have done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And typically, what I like to tell my clients is that at the time that we're making a decision, we're trying to make the best possible decision with the information that we have on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a week later, a month later, year later, 5 years later,
Right.
I should have known. Well, guess what? At the time that you were making the decision, you were trying to do it with the best possible information that you had available to you at that time.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
becoming aware of shoulds, mhm, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also becoming aware of the what if thinking. Well, what if this happens? What if,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put a date on us, Marcy, but I know we both lived through Y2K,
Oh,
year
yeah.
2000. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Now
And we
that's a perfect
survived.
example of what if thinking automatically going to the disaster.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't hear anyone saying, oh, your year 2000 is coming up. This is going to be the year we have world peace.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
The power grid was going to go down.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was a disaster. The financial systems, everything was going to fall apart. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
January 1st, 2000, everybody was looking around like, is this it?
yeah. Wow.
I mean, remember, people were playing Prince's song,
Oh, yeah.
1999, you know?
Yeah.
It was
Hey,
like
now.
everything was going to blow up. It didn't happen.
No, no.
Oh boy. So Fran, we're coming to the end of our time, unfortunately. But I do have another question. I know that we experience the stress response way before physically. We experience it physically way before our mind tells us we're stressed. What are some of the signs, the physical signs that people can become aware of so that they can become a little more cognizant of when they are feeling stressed or when the stress response has kicked in?
Well, I think everyone knows when their stress response kicks in, and I think that's as individual as we are.
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Some of the things that can happen: poor sleep,
Mhm.
insomnia. There again, um, uh, what am I avoiding? Okay, um, there. If you feel yourself during the day, and there again, hands might be clenched,
Mhm.
jaw clenched, teeth clenched. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And becoming more aware overall of not only your physical, but your mental.
Mhm.
And that's going to make you more aware of your emotional. Okay. Yeah. Because this head is not kind of floating around in the vicinity of our body. It's all connected. Okay. So if the thoughts, the what if thinking, what if something terrible is going to happen, of course, that's going to trigger our
Mhm.
physical response to get prepared for something terrible to happen.
Yeah.
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 And then emotionally, we get prepared for something terrible to happen.
Right.
Okay. So,
Right.
yeah, starting to become aware, what am I thinking? Couples, simple, uh, simple. I know they're not easy. Controlled breathing,
Mhm.
checking the facts.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's the top things to do. Control breathing,
Mhm.
check the facts.
Check the
You
facts.
also
Check the
talked
facts.
about, mhm. You
Check the
also,
facts on
mhm.
little things. So when things really get what if, what if, what if?
Right.
Hey,
Mhm.
wait a minute. I'm what ifing.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. So being aware of your what if thinking,
Mm-hmm.
being aware of your should have, I should have,
Mm-hmm.
being um, just if you have to worry, you feel like you just got to just get it out of your system. Spend that 5-10 minutes, get it out of your system, and move on with your day.
Do it as hard as you can,
Just
because if you did it as hard as you could, you'd be wanting to stop. It'd be like me trying to run as hard as I could. I'd get that stitch in my side. I'd be like, I gotta sit down. Okay. Yeah.
that's right. Oh, I love that. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. That's right. Because who's going to run a marathon at a sprinter's pace?
No one. And we
Nobody.
can't worry at a sprinter's pace either. We pace it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta save some of this for tonight so that I can't sleep.
Right. 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 And the thing is, we're chuckling about it, we're laughing, but the thing is, it's very real
Oh,
that people
absolutely.
sometimes it's hard for some to let go of the worry.
Oh, yeah.
They hold on to it because of there's an emotional attachment to it. There's a lot of reasons that people hold on to the worry, and it becomes difficult to let it go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just doing these two things. And if you've been practicing worrying for a long, 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 long time, it's not going to go away shazam in a day and within 30-minute,
Mhm. Yeah.
introduction. It'll be something to practice like you practice worrying. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And it can feel even better
Well, at first it
once not
probably is.
worrying becomes a habit. It feels good.
Yeah, yeah. At first, it'll probably not feel good not to worry, because we don't like change as humans. So
Right.
anytime something like that, I'm not worried. Well, wait a minute. Let me find something here to worry about.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, we are at the end of our time. I hate that. I really do
Well,
because
thank you
I
for
know that.
having me on.
Fran, I love it. I love it. I think you've shared so much good information with our audience. And I would like for you to come back at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. I want to also remind those of you who are in Ohio, in the state of Ohio, Franette's private practice is Checkpoint Counseling. It's located in Canton, Ohio. She is a cognitive behavioral therapist, solution focused therapist. So her skill set is to help you to relieve the pain that brought you to her in the shortest amount of time. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
absolutely. Fran, do you have anything else you'd like to share with us before we go?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being on. Thank you for being a part of Stress Talk Live. I'm glad you're here. Yay! Yay!
Marcy, it was a very stressful situation for me.
But you see, you were practicing your breathing throughout. And we're laughing. There's a lot of laughter, which also helps with stress relief.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you all for joining us today. As always, I'm glad you're a part of Stress Talk. I'm glad you've been here with us, and I'll see you next week. I'm Marcelyn Bailey, and as always, take good care.